Alright guys, so let's get started. And the question is, what is PHP? Okay, what is PHP? Why should I study or why should I learn PHP? Okay, this is a question that everyone who wants to go into web development, who wants to learn PHP is asking, okay, what is PHP? What is it about? Okay, now let's go into this info. Now, PHP is a server scripting language and a powerful tool for making dynamic and interactive web pages. Now, if someone wants to go into web development, it is important that you find out the difference between a dynamic website and a static website. Okay, now having the understanding, then you'll be able to know why PHP comes into play here. Okay, so PHP is a server scripting language and it's used for making dynamic and interactive web pages. Okay, now in the course of this video you get to know a lot of things, why we say this is dynamic, and the functions, and all the interesting things that PHP can do. We'll get to see them all in this presentation. I'm still talking about what PHP is all about. PHP is an acronym for Hypertext Processor. Okay, Hypertext Preprocessor. Now something like Hypertext Preprocessor, we should be looking at something like HPP. But that's because when PHP was founded, it was named Personal Homepage. Okay, that's where PHP came into play, because it was called Personal Homepage. But upon improvement, they decided to change the name to Hypertext Preprocessor, but the acronym PHP is still valid. Okay, so we'll talk about PHP as a widely used and open source scripting language. Now, it is open source, it is free to use. Okay, it is absolutely free for you to get your hand on PHP. Okay, and it is widely used. Most of the social media platforms, social networking platforms you see out there, most of the web applications you see there, the e-commerce, the content management systems you see, most of them are built with PHP, so it is widely used. Okay, now, PHP scripts are executed on the server. Remember, we said it is server scripting language. Okay, so the scripts does not just work on ordinary browser. Okay, it needs a server for it to work. Okay, so they are executed on the server. So if you want to run PHP, you will make sure you are having a server. Either it is a local server on your personal computer, or you pay for hosting space. Okay, but it definitely requires a server to run. Okay, PHP is free to download and use. Remember, we said it's an open source. Okay, so it's absolutely free. You can download PHP and start using it all for free. Okay, now, how popular is PHP? Is it popular? Is PHP popular? This is another question that you want to ask, because you are trying to get the best, and you don't want to go do something that is not actually needed out there, something that is not in demand, something that people don't know. So is PHP popular? That is the question. Now, PHP is the core of the most content management systems. Okay, most of the content management systems you see, like WordPress, Drupal, Joomla, they are built with PHP. Okay, so if something as popular as WordPress is built with PHP, that tells you how popular PHP is, right? Okay, then we'll talk about it is deep enough to run large social networks. Okay, a lot of social networks out there, social networking platforms, social media used out there, they are built with PHP. It's also easy enough to be a beginner's first server-side language. So if you haven't started, you're a beginner in web development, you want to go into web development, you're still a beginner, so it is very, very okay. It is recommended that you go for PHP. Okay, because it's easy to learn. Yeah, PHP is easy to learn, it's easy to use, and it's an open source, it is free to download. So PHP is recommended for beginner as a server-side language. Now, the files. Okay, talk about PHP files. PHP files can contain text, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and PHP code. Okay, so when you talk about PHP files, when you create a PHP file, it doesn't contain just PHP code, but it also can contain JavaScript, CSS, HTML, all within it. Can contain text. Okay, so PHP is not just limited to PHP codes. Okay, a PHP code is executed on a server, and the result is returned to the browser as a plain HTML. Okay, so PHP codes, like I earlier explained, they are executed on the server. So you must have, if you want to use PHP, either you're learning or you're building a web application, or you built a web application and you want to host it, you need a server for you to run it. Okay, the result that you see as a plain HTML in your browser. So without a server, whether local server or you have an online host that you want to use, if you don't have that, you won't be able to run your PHP. And PHP files have extension .php. Okay, so I'm going to show you an example right after this slide. I'm going to show you an example. So PHP files have extension .php. So any file you want to create, once you end it, once you finish it with .php, that makes it a PHP file. Okay, let me show you. I'm going to show you that while I'm showing you what PHP can do. Okay, what you'll be able to do with PHP. Okay, so I'm going to show you what PHP file looks like and what it can contain. I'm going to show you that in a slide. PHP can generate dynamic page content. Dynamic page. You can have a page, a file. Okay, and then when you execute it, you'll be able to see content that are not exactly on that page. Okay, you'll be able to see content that are not exactly written on that page. So dynamically it is being fetched, okay, from maybe a different page or from a database. So I'm going to show you all of that. PHP can create, open, read, write, delete and close files on the server. Now with PHP you can manipulate files. Like I just said, we have most of those things you see on WordPress, they are in a database. Okay, but you find out that you right on the page, you'll be able to delete something. You'll be able to click on delete, and the file goes away. Now these are some of the things that PHP does. You can also create like when you're writing your blog, you write your blog, so it creates it and sends it into your database. Okay, you'll be able to fetch the one you want to open and read, you write, all of those stuff you can actually do with PHP. PHP can collect form data. Now you have a form on a website and you want to collect information from your users and store them in your database, or want to send it to your email. You can actually use PHP to handle that. Okay, we say PHP can send and receive cookies. Yeah, on your device, whichever device you are using, you can actually use PHP to send or actually receive cookies. PHP can add, delete, modify data in your database. Now when you have a database, if you are familiar with PHP admin and or MySQL, or you're familiar with any other database management system, you find out that you can actually create database right there in the database management system. But then PHP now makes it easy. For instance, you're running a web application, you don't need to go to database to go and alter anything there. With PHP you can do it right on the server, right on your web page. Okay, you'll be able to do anything you want to do. You want to insert something, you want to delete, you're able to add, so you'll be able to do all of this. Here is a code. You can see right here index.php. Okay, you can see right here index.php. So once you see any file that ends with .php, that is a PHP file. Okay, that's a PHP file. Now if you look at this PHP file, you see that we have HTML inside it. Can you see HTML right inside this file? And you can also see styles here. You can see that we also have CSS right in this file. Okay, we have PHP. You can take a look at this, you see we have HTML code here. You can see the head, the meta element, the title, and all of that. You can see I also have style here. You can see the style open there. You can see that. So style closes here. So you see that we have all of this in this code. Okay, you can see we have all of that here. And you can also take a look and see where our PHP. You can see that we also have PHP code inside this PHP file. Okay, so when we're talking about a PHP file, it can contain HTML, it can contain text, it can contain JavaScript, it can contain CSS, and it can also contain PHP code itself right in this file. So this file is index.php, and you can see the codes are written right here. You can see, so we have all of this. So I said I'm going to show you most of those things I said in the slide. You can see that we also have forms here. Okay, you can see that we have a form right in this file. We have a form. Okay, so I'm going to open it. Okay, so I've already stored this. When I said you're going to have a server, now this is what I mean. I'm using local server here. I'm using XAMPP. Okay, so XAMPP is what I'm using. I've already put the file that I'm using right inside the directory. Okay, right inside the directory. So this is the file. You can see class is the directory for this project I have here, and this is the index page. So for me to open this job, I'll go to my browser. Okay, so let me make it full screen. I'll go to my browser, localhost plus. Okay, so now you can see this page right here. You can see this page right here. Okay, so now the PHP code has been executed in the server and now printed on this page as a plain. Now it's looking like a plain HTML. Okay, it's looking like a plain HTML. Okay, now we'll talk about form. The part where we talk about form handling. I'll talk about form. Now right here we'll be able to enter an information here. Enter information here. Let's say John is the name. Can I say John or anything we like John? Okay. Then contact, anything, the contact, the address can be anywhere. Put your address. Okay. So when we send this in, okay, it has been. I'm going to explain what is happening here because it's in my slide, but I don't want to show you right here. Okay, you see we have John Doe right here. John, see we have it in this place. Okay, so this is what we are talking about. So you see that we've been able to collect, and actually this is stored in a database. Okay, let's come to our database here. I will come to this is the database. Okay, now I'll say PHP can be used to control user access. Okay, now when you're using PHP, you can, you've seen some websites where you want to open a particular page and it's asking you to log in first. Okay, you don't want ordinary users to access that page. It's just admin, so you won't be able to go to that part. It will require you to log in, and of course you don't have the passcode. You can actually use PHP to do all of this. Okay, so this is the area where users can see, this is the area where admin can see, and so all of this can be done with PHP. Now talk about PHP used for encrypting data. Okay, now this is the exact thing you saw right there. We'll talk about data encryption. So now you see we have this information here. Okay, so with PHP we can actually encrypt this. You see what we have here. Actually, this is not the length, is actually longer than this, but I just have to shorten it so that it doesn't scatter how this page looks like. Okay, remember when we went to this database, this is what it looked like. So that data encryption, when you enter any information, okay, it hides it. Now hackers cannot use this thing. Okay, people when some because sometimes hackers might gain access and hack into your database and steal your information. Okay, but when you encrypt them, they won't be able to see. You can see that this. Okay, let's go back and enter an information again. Okay, enter let's say King. Okay, let's say Martin. Then we say okay. Then we say King at gmail.com. Okay, king at gmail.com. Then the contact. Okay, then address. Let's say now you see what we have here. You see this information here. When we enter it, you can see. So we use PHP to insert, collect the data we just entered here, and we also use PHP to encrypt it. Now you see what we are looking at here. But if you come to this page, you'll be able to see. Can you see King Martin? Then king at gmail.com. This is the contact, blah blah. But if you come here, you see that it's actually encrypted. So this is what is seen on the database. Okay, so we don't just encrypt, we can also decrypt using data using PHP. But that's why we have decrypted. Because if you look at database, you can see. Okay, let's refresh. If you refresh, you're gonna see. Okay, you can see we have the next file here, the third one here. You can see. So we use PHP to do all of this. Now you can see that this is encrypted. Okay, this is encrypted, and we can decrypt it because it's an issue when you decrypt. How do you now get back the data now? So using PHP, we are able to encrypt and decrypt. Okay, we have our code right here. This is a program. This is a code where we do the encryption and all of that. Okay, so you can actually use PHP to do these things. Okay, I'll use PHP. There was a part where I said PHP and fetch dynamic content. Okay, now if you look at this place, you see where we use include. Okay, so the content in this dbcon.php, actually this one is not needed to show on the page because this is where we linked. This is the file where we just linked our database. Okay, this is where we just connected this project to our database. Okay, so that's why we have this. And this other one here is the content here where we were able to encrypt the files. Okay, we're able to encrypt this where the encryption file work, and you can see right here that we've been able to include it. So it's kind of dynamic. We didn't put it earlier on this page, but we're able to fetch it and use it. So these are some of the things that you can do with PHP. Okay, now this is looking, you might be looking a bit complex if you're a beginner, but remember it's just an overview on what you can actually do with PHP. So let's go back to our slide. So you've seen what we mean starting from the beginning. PHP can generate dynamic page content. I just took you through the codes I have there. You've seen some of this, creating, opening, reading, and you see all of that. We just did that in that page. We were able to create, and then we went to another page and we were able to open the file. We were able to read it. Okay. The delete part, when next we go back to that page, we'll use the delete instruction. We use the delete query to run on that. So you see how all of this work using PHP. I say with PHP you are not limited to output HTML. You can output images or PDF files. You can also output any text such as XHTML and XML. PHP is not limited to just HTML. You can display images, you can display PDF files, right in a PHP file. Now, why PHP? Why should we go for PHP? PHP runs on various platforms: Windows, Linux, Unix, Mac OS, and all of that. So you see, it's open source and now it runs on so many platforms. So if you are using Windows, it's not restricted to you. If you are using Linux, whichever one you're using, you'll be able to make use of PHP in your PC. PHP is compatible with almost all servers used today. Okay, almost all the servers, all the web servers you can purchase today, there's provision for PHP. Okay, later on I'll be showing how you run your web, how you host your web files and all that. You see what we're talking about. So virtually virtually all, or almost all servers you have today, they all have provision for PHP. The PHP supports a wide range of databases. MySQL, you can use a lot of them. There are a lot of them out there that PHP supports, so you're not limited to one database. Okay, PHP is free. Of course, we talked about that before when we said it's open source and free to download and use. Then PHP is easy to learn and runs efficiently on the server side. Okay, this is the reason why I am recommending this for beginners. Okay, it's recommended for beginners because it's actually very easy to learn and run efficiently on the server side. Now, how do we now go about installing? Because someone wants to get started right now. Okay, so let me show you what you do. Now find a web host with PHP and MySQL support. This is the best thing for you as a beginner. It's going to make it a lot stress-free for you. Okay, I recommend XAMPP server, which is a local host that you can use on your device. When you get it, it makes it a lot easy for you, so you don't need to install MySQL, you don't need to install PHP separately. Also, WAMP server is out there as well for you to use. Then install a web server on your own PC and then install PHP and MySQL. Now when you get your XAMPP server installed, you will see PHP option there, you see MySQL option, and other ones are out there. So you select these two because these are the major ones you need to run your PHP, which is PHP and MySQL. That's what you're going to install. And when your server has activated support for PHP, you do not need to do anything. See, that's why I said XAMPP server is what I would recommend for you, because once you get it done, you don't need to install PHP separately, you don't need to install MySQL. They are right there. Create some .php files, place them in your web directory, and then the server will automatically pass them for you. Let me show you what this is about. Okay, right here on the screen you see we have dbcon.php, delete.php, enc.php, index.php. All of these, they are PHP files. Okay, and they are all in a directory class. This is directory class. Now this directory is installed. I've already placed it in the htdoc of this XAMPP. You know, I was telling you about XAMPP. This is XAMPP. So once you install XAMPP, you see it comes with all of this. So what we just need is Apache and MySQL. This is what you see that they are started. Okay, this one is not started. That's why you are seeing start. Okay, I already checked on. I already clicked on this because all I just need is Apache and MySQL. Okay, Apache and MySQL is all I need right there. But for this job to show, you need to put this folder here, this class, which has the files I'm using. You need to put them into the htdoc directory inside XAMPP. Okay, so when you install your XAMPP installed all of those things by default. Okay, well, so this is XAMPP here. So this is XAMPP. Okay, I said that inside this XAMPP we have all of this. We have MySQL, we have all of these folders here, PHP. Okay, well, so we just go to htdocs. Okay, you see this class. So this is how to do it. So make sure that it is inside XAMPP and inside htdocs. Okay, that's where we have our file. If you tap here, you see how it works. Okay, from the local disk, we'll locate the XAMPP, locate the htdocs. So this is where you place your job. Okay, so once you place it there, it will pass it automatically. Okay, so all you just need to do, like when you saw what I did in this browser, so we just enter localhost like the class, and it brings us right here. Okay, so when you create your file, your PHP file, remember that you can have HTML in the file, you can have CSS. Okay, so these are all, look at this, all of these files here. Look at this, or what we have here. You can see all, whether it is HTML that you have, whether it is JavaScript. For it to be a PHP file, you must save with .php. Okay, right here you see I'm showing you all of. Once you create your file, you don't need to do anything else. You do not need to compile anything or install any extra tools for you to be able to open your job. You saw what I did right there. Just put the file there. Then if you're using WAMP server, you're going to be inside the www directory. Okay, once you put it there, that's it. Or you don't need to do anything else. You don't need to compile anything or install any extra tools. All you just need to do is go to your browser. So long as your Apache and MySQL are active, all you just need to do is go to your browser, type localhost / the name of the folder, and your job is opened. Now talk about the syntax. Okay, PHP syntax. How do you write PHP codes? Okay, a PHP script is executed on the server and the plain HTML result is sent back to the browser. Of course, I've talked about this. Okay, when we talk about the execution of PHP file, that it is executed in the server and the plain HTML is sent back to the browser. And a very good example is the job is the project I showed on the screen, where we're able to enter information and all that. So you see all of those things you're seeing there, they are PHP codes. Okay, they are PHP files, but on the screen on inside the browser we are seeing plain HTML. Okay, then the PHP script can be placed anywhere in the document. You can put PHP anywhere. You can put it above. For instance, you're having HTML on that side. You can even put it above the HTML opening tag. You can put it after. So depending on where you want it to be displayed. The PHP script start with this angle bracket. You can see angle bracket right here. You can see the opening, the closing. Okay. Then when you open, you put question mark, then PHP. Then you put your codes. Whatever code you want to put will be within this place. Okay. Then once you are done writing your code, you close. Okay, this is how you close. Put your question mark, then closing tag. Talking about case sensitivity. Now you need to understand when we say case sensitivity, does it recognize capital letter or small letter? Or keywords, classes, functions, and user-defined functions are not case sensitive. Okay, anyhow you want to write it, they are not case sensitive. Okay, variable names are case sensitive. So let me show you that on the screen. Okay, let's go to where we display something on the database. So let's come to this search. Search is where we displayed some stuff. Okay, from database. So right here we're able to retrieve, we're able to select data from database. Just looking at it, you'll be able to understand the English. Select or from users. Okay, remember in database right here in my browser, you see this is the table. Okay, and the table name is user. Okay, so this query is simply saying select everything. This asterisk here means everything from table user, table with the name user. Okay, when it fetch everything, now we're putting all of that. The first name we put it into a variable. So this is how we declare a variable. Okay, with this $sign, or how we call it ampersand. Okay, this $sign and then the name of whatever you want to use. So if we assign this here, you see what we do. So if I change this, okay, let's say I change the F here to cap. Okay, see we have capital letter F. Now if we go to our code, okay, see right here we're having error. Right here we are having error because see it says undefined variable. Can you see? So it is case sensitive. Variable names are case sensitive. Okay, so we had error here. So if we change this to cap, okay, so they are the same now. Okay, so we run our code again. So we run, we refresh right here. You can see that it's working now. Okay, see that it's working. So variable names are case sensitive. Okay, so take note of whatever you use when you are naming your variables, and you can't use same variable name for different data. Otherwise, the last one is what will be used. By the time I decide to change this to, let me just put a string value here. Let us say uh, name. I call this name. Now I've inserted into this place. You see that the first one will not show. Okay, so it's going to this variable will take the last value that's assigned to this name. Okay, that's what it's going to use. Okay, so when your variable name, do not use the same variable name for different information. Now let's see what's going to happen right here. So I'm going to save this work. So whenever you make, I already have auto save. That's why you didn't see me clicking save. I already have auto save, but just to let you know, like, it is a tradition to always save your work before you refresh. So when I run this right here, okay, when I refresh, see, you're going to have name. So it is the last data you assign into a variable that will show. So make sure you differentiate the names. Okay, so I'm going back to change it back to, okay, we don't need this part. Okay, so take note of that. So we said that functions, for instance, this while here, if I change it to, okay, so you see that our code is still running fine. There is no issue at all. Okay, see, the codes are still running. There is no challenge. So functions, I know you might not be able to, if you're a beginner, you might not really understand it properly. Okay, but I believe you know what variable name. A variable is like a container that you store data inside. Okay, just like this one, we were able to fetch data from our database and we assign each of them into variables. Okay, so variable is like a container to put something. Okay, while functions carry a particular command, they carry a particular command that whenever you call them, it will carry out the command. There are system defined functions and user defined functions. Okay, you can just write a function that will add two numbers. Okay, so whenever you call that function and put the numbers or the variables you want to use, it will automatically run the instruction you have already assigned to it. So that is basically what the function is. So you see that when we change this to calculator, they didn't affect our codes. Okay, they are working fine, but we advise to use the small letters for your, that is the standard. But for PHP, functions, keywords, and all that, they are not case sensitive. Only variable names that are case sensitive. Okay, the video is already very long, but I believe you'll be able to get not just an insight, you have an understanding of what PHP is about and why you should go into it, how popular it is, and I believe you should get started into it. I definitely will not regret doing it. It gives you an edge if you can learn PHP. It gives you an edge, as even if you are using WordPress to design most of your sites, you'll be able to fix most challenges all by yourself. Okay, if you can find a way around the PHP. Alright, if you enjoyed the video, do well to subscribe to this channel. Also like it. You can also share to your friends. Like each time I drop new videos, you'll be able to get it. You may be one of the first persons that will get the update. Alright, see you guys.